Hey everyone, just real quick, I want to show you an up-close look at this GameSir SE G7 wired controller. Now, it's designed for Xbox, but I use it on PC. So you can use it on either or, and it'd be perfectly fine. It's a wired controller, so you don't need to worry about any connectivity issues. But as you know, for the controller, this is your next step up if you want to get out of the original, standard factory Xbox controllers, basically. If you want a good controller for gaming and FPS games especially, this would be a great next upgrade if you wanted to really take your game one step further. Now, one of the biggest, selling points for me was not only the input rate, so this is super fast, and in the sense that there's no input delay. If I press A, it's immediately going to show that I press A in the game. There's not going to be any kind of input delay, which is very nice, and especially with it being wired, there's going to be even less delay compared to if it was wireless. Now, you can see on the back there are two buttons. You can turn these off and on, which is super cool. So for example, these little small buttons right here where my fingers are pointing, if you push those to the outside, let me just get it real quick. When they're pushed to the outside, you can actually press the buttons. These are especially good if you're in an FPS game like Call of Duty, for example, and you really want a few more buttons to have control over what your character is doing. But if it's a game like, say, for example, Rocket League, you can actually push it down, and obviously you can use it for Rocket League, but in my case, I don't use that many buttons for Rocket League, so you can push it towards the inside, and now instead of becoming a button, these are just an extra part of the controller. You can hold, squeeze it, do as much as you want. It won't affect anything. So you can kind of use it depending on what game you're using. As for the controller itself, the joysticks, they are kind of like have a different technology to the point where it's more of a magnet type of joystick. So on the inside, there's magnets. Basically, this is all to eliminate stick drift. I know stick drift is one of the main things, especially if you get those original Xbox controllers. I swear, there's been times where I'll buy the controller and next thing you know, I'm getting stick drift 3, 4, 5 months into having the controller. That should have happened. I've had this controller for 6 months and it's still showing no signs of even any use. It's perfectly fine. The joysticks have been good. The triggers have another technology where there's way less input delay compared to if you had a normal controller. So the absolute millisecond that I touch or even look at this strike trigger, it's going to register in game. So that's one of the many positives. Overall, there's not really much else to the controller other than those two side buttons and everything on the front. But the joystick technology was one of my favorites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up a quick game of Rocket League and just kind of show you how I can use a controller in a setting. Obviously, there might be better games to use it than in Rocket League, but I'll start up Rocket League and show you how it's done. All right, so we're going to go ahead and load up Rocket League, and I'm just going to play a few little games inside of the training arena, and overall just kind of walk you through what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and really how I feel using this controller. But first things first, let's get into training. We'll just go into some free play, just kind of be able to move the ball around a little bit. But you can see, personally, in Rocket League at least, I don't leave my trigger finger or my index fingers on the triggers. I put them on the bumpers so I could put my middle fingers on the triggers. Just because in Rocket League, I like having a little bit more control in that sense because I feel like I can do a little bit more when I have that, potential for more buttons. But what I'm going to do, play around a little bit. Let's see if I'm still good at Rocket League because it's been about a month. And really, you can just kind of see what to expect. But yeah, you can kind of get the point of really what I'm doing, just kind of showing off the controller a little bit. Obviously, like I said, it's probably not the best game to really test this controller and its full capabilities in, but it's Rocket League. Who doesn't like Rocket League? I got to get a lot better, as you can see. You can see I can't even hit the ball sometimes. Hey, just saying, max rank I ever got to in Rocket League was Champ 3, and that was in 2s, I think it was. I think I got up to Champ 2, or got up to Champ 2 in 1s was my most, proud rank in Rocket League. So if you guys played Rocket League, let me know. Little double tap right here. See, we still got it. But overall, that is one of the biggest reasons as to why I can recommend this controller is because it does everything I need it to do, so I have no reason not to recommend it to you. I know the real reason of why I chose this controller, after obviously doing a bunch of research on it, but this was actually the most recommended controller I could find on Reddit. And I do a lot of researching, especially when it comes to personal reviews and use case scenarios. I will always search Reddit when it comes to products like this, and this was one of the most recommended controllers that I found, and it's honestly done its job for the last 6 months perfectly fine.